Back out here in the hayfield again today. Yesterday I was here as well. I got the second pass with the disc finished and the ground looks pretty good, and that's a good thing because I don't have enough time to do a third pass, but it looks like everything broke down enough and these clods are to a manageable size now that I can move on to the next step in ground prep, and that for me is going to be floating this field. What floating the field does is it fills in all these dead furrows left behind by the disc and basically levels and smooths everything out. I've seen people use everything from railroad ties to gates to do this. I actually built this float several years ago because I wanted something that could easily go up and down the road and then, you know, be converted over to like field mode. I was out here walking around getting some footage of the ground and the dead furrows and all that, and I found this piece of metal. Man, that is a flat tire waiting to happen. That is the one thing that I don't like about this field, is there used to be a house right here. I can remember when I was a little kid, not the house being here, but I remember a pile of, I think what used to be the house was here. You can still see the pressure tank is here, and the thing that sometimes I worry about is the septic tank is right here and sometimes very difficult to see. So anyway, that's just a little bit of history on this property. I'm going to be running this on a slight angle as compared to what I did with the disc on the last pass, because that fills in those dead furrows a lot better, and I guess there's not a whole lot else to say about it. Let's get to work. I've only just got this little corner here left to do, and then I've got to go around and do my headlands, but I'm unhooking right now because I'm starting to get worried that I'm going to run out of diesel. As you can see, my fuel gauge is not a lot of help, and the more I think about it, the more it's like, well, it's a lot less time to just go fill up than it would be to run out, have to walk back, bring a jug out here, reprime the system, all that. So I guess we'll just do the smart thing and go fill up right now. I didn't get finished until after dark last night, so I wanted to come back out here today and show you guys what I accomplished. I think this field looks really good after one pass. Usually I'll do 2 passes with the float to really get things looking nice how I want them, but with the price of diesel this year, sometimes, you know, good enough's got to be good enough. You might notice that the weather is a little bit different today, and that is the reason why I had to stay out here until I was finished last night. A lot of groundwork you can do while the ground is a little bit wet. Disking, chiseling, things like that. If the ground is wet, it actually works a little bit better. The one job that needs dry ground is floating, and of course that's what I had to get done. Most any groundwork operation that smooths the ground out, floating, triplaning, leveling, anything like that, you kind of need the ground dry so that it flows through the bucket. If the ground is wet, then it has a tendency to clump up and it doesn't flow. I don't know how else to explain it, but it won't flow through the bottom of that blade. You'll end up making a bunch of streaks out here instead of leveling things out and making them look nice. So now this storm will move in today, I'm sure, and they're predicting anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch, which isn't a whole heck of a lot, but it would be enough to mess the float up. So what I'll do at that point is let the ground dry for a couple of days, and then I think this field will be ready to plant. Fortunately, spreading seed and covering seed is something that I can do on wet ground. So now that this is done, this is actually a huge weight off of my shoulders. With planting right around the corner, I'm kind of going through my mental checklist to make sure that all of my equipment is going to be ready to go when I want to plant. And there was one modification that I wanted to make to my 3-point spreader. Since today is kind of a windy, stormy day, it's a good day to work in the shop, and I don't think this is gonna take very long. So I'm gonna wheel that thing in here and see what we can do. The spreader is not very heavy at all. I could almost carry it, but I think it's gonna be a lot easier if I can get it on my dolly here and wheel it in there. So the problem with this spreader, or what I need to change on it, is this top hole for the 3-point hitch. It's a little bit too big, and a lot of people said that it's because it's for the next size up category hitch. And maybe that's what it is, but I know that the 3-point hitch on my New Holland, the tractor that I will use to spread the seed, the top link calls for a smaller pin. I thought that when you moved up in size on the category of the hitch, that the lower links got bigger as well, but these are the same small lower links that the tractor uses. So I don't really know. Honestly, I'm not too concerned about it. I just know that I need to change it, so that's what we're gonna do. And in addition to the hole being too big, I don't like how thin and flimsy this metal is that they used here. I think this should be at least 1/4 inch, but I will probably beef this up with some 3/8 inch. Good my bandsaw skills are. Hey, put that. This is the moment of truth here. Does the pin still fit? Well, right out of the box, I think that this was the weak link in the spreader, and looking at it now, it might be the strongest part of the spreader. I think 3/8 was probably a little overkill, but for something like this, I would rather go too thick than too thin. With this little modification being finished now, I think the spreader's ready to go to work in the field. After a few adjustments, I'm hoping that I can get this thing dialed in and working good. I'm not really sure what the weather is gonna do here in the next couple of weeks, but at least now I know that when I get a window that I can plant, I'll be ready. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.